I was leading a discussion group a while ago in the beautiful university town of Cambridge in England, and a woman said to me, "I can never forgive my mother for what she did to me." And I said, "Why not?" And she replied, "Because if I do, she will get away with it." Somehow she had come to believe that she was punishing her mother, but in fact the only person she was punishing was herself. How many times have you heard people say, "Until they apologize, I'm not letting this go," or "They owe me an apology"? Then there are others who say, "I'm sick and tired of this behavior. He's done it over and over again, but that's it, I've had enough." There's nothing quite like other people to irritate you, rub you up the wrong way, or cause you grief. The people closest to you have probably got the greatest capacity to cause you trouble. And there's no one closer to you, of course, than you. So you may find yourself at some point to be a walking civil war. The longer you live, the more chances there are for conflict, misunderstandings, and bitterness. Facebook was founded in 2004 and changed its name in 2021. 5 years before it was founded in 2004, I was working in the area of stress and anger management and was searching for a word to describe the various different ways in which these painful situations could be handled. I came up with the word meta skills, and I even trademarked it, but soon discovered it was impossible really to put a patent on such a word. I still work with meta skills, 7 actually, especially when it comes to stress and life management. I've written about the 7 in my book, Jesus and the Racing Rat. I'm going to introduce one of them to you and help you use it as you explore your own stress. Meta means change, as when a chrysalis changes into a butterfly. It's called metamorphosis. The Greek word metanoia is translated in the Bible as repentance, but it means change your mind. Meta also means above and beyond, as in metaphysics, or a word you may not have heard too often, meta-analysis. Facebook is claiming to be wanting to explore the metaverse, which kind of goes above and beyond things we can see. So meta skills are big picture and change skills. And if you want to look at the person who demonstrated meta skills more than anybody else, then you need to look at Jesus of Nazareth. And you want to see the place where he demonstrated these skills the most, you need to look at the cross. By the time they drove the nails into his wrists and ankles and lifted up the cross, he'd been subjected to sustained pressure of unimaginable proportions. He'd been whipped at least 39 times. Many people died under the whipping. He'd been beaten about the head and had his beard pulled out. He'd had a clump of thorns forced onto his head and a robe put on his bleeding back. Before that, he had been betrayed by one friend, disowned by another friend, and deserted by most of his friends. He'd been the subject of a show trial which was illegal at 11 points, even of the local justice system. He'd been mocked, isolated, and abused. His reaction reveals an amazing meta skill. Let me quote it for you. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." Straight away, you can hear that forgiveness is hard, expensive, and painful. He could barely breathe as he spoke these words, but these words give you a window into his soul and a model of how to react to unimaginable pressure. If you want to know the ultimate stress management skill revealed by Jesus of Nazareth on the cross, it is this: forgiveness. While everyone else was reacting to the week we call Holy Week with corruption, dishonesty, betrayal and violence, Jesus says, "Father, forgive." It's an almost unbearable tenderness in the middle of this horrific wickedness. Yet at the same time, it is a beautiful model upon which you can shape your life. I have a book in my library called Forgiveness: Theory, Research and Practice. It's an academic study designed to take a deep dive into this skill that I have labeled a meta skill. In it, you will find a 4-part breakdown of forgiveness. The first part is a recognition of injury to yourself. It's an admission of hurt, anger and damage. How often have you heard someone say, "I'm not angry," when everything about their face and their words tell you that they are? Some years ago I was bullied at work and was talking a long time after the bullying to a pastor friend of mine, and he interrupted me and said, "You're still angry about this, aren't you?" And I said, "I am." In saying the words, "I am," I was able to start on a journey. Forgiveness starts with admitting you're upset. Then, they say in this book, you need to have a commitment to forgive. You need to believe in forgiveness, that it's a good thing and the right thing to do. I saw a cartoon once where a clergyman was speaking to a strange-looking character and saying, "I think you need to go to a church that specialises in forgiveness." But forgiveness is a core part of the Christian deal. It's not a specialism, it's something we need to be committed to. The third stage is a time of processing or thinking or feeling. Anyone who says they are very quick to forgive may be fooling themselves, or some characters are much more forgiving than others. I doubt that Joseph, the man with the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, when his brothers threw him into the pit, immediately looked up lovingly and wanted to say to them, "What you purpose for evil, God purpose for good." I think it probably took him a few years to get to that point. It can take a while before you're ready to forgive. The last point is new behaviours, learning to say different words and think different thoughts about the person that has offended you. When Jesus was on the cross, nobody had asked him for forgiveness. He was the victim of repeat offenders. Jerusalem had been killing prophets for years. He could have taken revenge and destroyed the lot of them. Remember when Peter cut off someone's ear? Jesus told Peter he could call on 12 legions of angels. Now 12 legions of angels is 72,000 angels. In the Old Testament, in one night, one angel killed 185,000 people. Jesus may have been exaggerating for effect, but that, in reality, would be the capacity to kill 2.2 billion people. You can see in this first sentence of Jesus from the cross, revelation of his personal meta-skill of forgiveness. But it's also a forgiveness powered by prayer. Jesus prays, "Father, forgive." This meta-skill involves invoking the power of God. Although we as humans have some power to forgive, there are many times when you might conclude, "I simply can't do this." Jesus is modelling a prayer-fueled forgiveness, not a determined grit your teeth and forgive approach to life. The way to harness the power of Jesus' prayer is to identify your them. Let me show you how to do that. Listen to these prayers. "Father, forgive my father because he did not know what he was doing. Father, forgive my mother because she did not know what she was doing. Father, forgive my parents because they did not know what they were doing. Father, forgive my brothers and sisters because they do not know what they are doing. Father, forgive my teachers because they did not know what they were doing. Father, forgive the decision makers in my life because they did not know what they were doing. Father, forgive the friends that have wounded me because they did not know what they were doing. Father, forgive my ex because she did not know what she was doing. Father, forgive my ex because he did not know what he was doing. Father, forgive me because I do not know what I'm doing. Father, I know you are perfect, but sometimes I think you do not know what you're doing. Father, forgive me for thinking you do not know what you're doing. Hardest of all, Father, forgive those who did not know what they were doing. Hardest of all, Father, forgive those who did know what they were doing. You may have to pray these prayers over and over again. Peter suggested 7 times was a good number, but Jesus suggested 49 times. But the more you pray them, the more you will align yourself with the forgiving Father, follow the loving Son, absorb the power of the Spirit, letting them break the power of stress.